I've been trying to get my thoughts together on the Guild Wars 3 announcement, and I think when I finally parse it, the phrase that's coming to mind is big MMO energy. And maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm ecstatic that there's a bunch of people coming back to the game. And one of my big concerns was that would steal people away, and I'm seeing the opposite thing happen. And that was my biggest concern, was that, you know, Guild Wars 3 would just take over. And that doesn't seem to be the case at all. And with the announcements, I was initially disappointed that it was an MMO. I was hoping for an ARPG or something like that. But it actually ended up being okay, because when they described what was happening more, it became very apparent that the MMOs kind of each had their niche. Like Guild Wars 1 is very small scale MMO. They made it clear they want Guild Wars 2 to be the big scale MMO. And so Guild Wars 3 is supposed to be somewhere in the middle. And so each one kind of will have its niche. And so all that effort that I put into this game, I know it's still going to be worth something. And that's very comforting to me as a player. And seeing that they're going to make investments in a new world versus world map, they're going to fix some of the old pain points, all of that. Like, I'm feeling very comforted about all of those things. And I was also pleasantly surprised. And I'll explain why in just a second. If you look at the camera here and how up close and personal it is, compared to the rest of Guild Wars 2, it's definitely like a different angle, or a different take on it. And it reminded me of this game right here. This is Paragon. And what makes Paragon special is it's also a UE5 game. And it was the only game that was able to get me to go back to the MOBA genre when I had sworn it off. And it is because of how visceral combat like this felt. Like, this is gameplay footage. This is how it actually looked. And so I actually think that Arenanet has a huge potential with having like that specific angle on the game. And it will be a different game, and it will be one that's much more visceral and much more fun. That's my hope. And if they pull it off, I'm very likely going to play both if I have the time. I have way less time for gaming than I used to have. My kids have so many more activities now. But I'm very excited with what I'm seeing so far. And I'm very excited that Guild Wars 2 is going to keep pumping, and it's going to keep doing things. And I don't have to be worried about all of this effort being wasted. I actually was nervous when I saw Reforged coming back, because I thought it was just them trying to save face, trying to make people not feel so bad about Guild Wars 1. But it looks like it has a real following. And it also looks like they're giving it a unique position within their own world. It will be a mobile game as well. And then Guild Wars 3 will have its own specialty being a PlayStation game. So I'm just really happy that it seems like every game has its own place, it has its own role. And this is like a really, like, it's a combination of like risky and inspiring to see what they're doing. Like, MMOs are not doing that great these days. There's not a lot of new ones. A lot of the existing ones struggle to keep the population. And so to see Arenanet double down on a genre like this, one that's riskier, and do 3 different games, like, that's just incredible. And it's kind of inspiring. And I hope they succeed, for reals. And I'm excited to see what the future brings. So if I think about some of the things that they did say, they talked about, you know, they've already been developing Guild Wars 2 alongside whatever else they're doing. And that was somewhat comforting, but I feel like it hasn't always been 100% consistent. Like, I felt like VOE was better than GW3 Wilds, because they decided to take a little extra time. And I hope that they give themselves the room to do that. And they don't just, like, penny pinch, like, oh, we need to release this time, and they're able to pull back. They did it for VOE. I hope they can keep doing that. I do think that there's some things that I'm probably going to suggest on the forums, because they actually opened it up for new comments. They want people to give feedback on Guild Wars 2, and so they can work on the pain points. I think that they need to try to make sure that the holiday rewards have like a certain baseline gold value. That's important to me because I felt like when I was a new player here, the holidays, especially Halloween, Dragon Bash, and Winter's Day, were really integral for me getting the cash I needed to kind of bootstrap my account. I really want them to revamp the guild system. I want there to be a lot more different activity types for guilds than there are right now. Like if I go to missions here, they don't PvE opportunities. They don't have like, say, raids or convergences here. I think it's a weakness. Like I really think that they should try to make convergences like a guild activity that people will do as a guild. It's got the scale for it. In fact, it's one of the few game modes that does outside of World versus World. I think that they can make a lot of improvements to the LFG system specifically. If it were up to me, I would completely revamp the combat system. Like, I think that it's ridiculous that there's not, like, there's very few stat combinations that are actually used, like, as a percentage. Most people tend to use Vipers or Berserkers as their main ones, sometimes Grieving, or other ones where you can finagle extra Condi duration or something out of a set of runes or something. But I think they really need to spend some time revamping the different stat combinations that will make Legendaries and Legendary Journey more rewarding. And I also want them to rework the boons. I think it's ridiculous. I don't feel like Alacrity and Quickness actually added something to the game. I feel like it was a power increase that came with Heart of Thorns that people really leaned into, and it made the expansion important, but I feel like the long-term impact on the game was bad. What I would do instead is I would actually make it so you built your builds around a boon or two. Or maybe you would only have, like, I would maybe merge Fury and Might into one type of boon. Then I'd do Quickness and Alacrity. And so there'd be 3 different types of offensive boons. But you would actually pick a specific one that your specialization would scale better off of. And so the Might-based ones, like, would be for people who, like, aren't super high actions per minute, right? Like, that would be your indication that you pick the DPS you would pick to specialize in Might and Fury. And so you would be like more auto attack builds kind of thing. The other abilities still help you plenty, but if you're like an older gamer or something, then it's your safe thing to do and you're not a drag. And then Alacrity would be for the people who are really, really good at keeping their cooldowns all the time, and Quickness maybe too. I don't know. I guess I haven't thought that through completely, but maybe I would try to make it so there's a specific reason to carry each boon, and there would be a different statement about your gameplay and how you prefer to play with, speccing into traits that synergize with that specific boon. The other thing about collapsing the boons down like this, where maybe you wouldn't be able to stack all the offensive boons at once, but you'd specialize in one, would be that they could finally flatten that annoying damage distance that they have between, like, the really new players and the really old players. And then they could balance things a lot better, because they've complained about this before. They're like, if you have a good group, some open world PvE is a joke. And that would not only work into this new modified boon system, but it could also work into the new stat system as well. Like, instead of having, stat combinations that are entirely offensive based, like Berserkers and Vipers, maybe every single stat combination has some type of defensive trait to it, some type of concentration or healing power, some group support to it. And so you would actually kind of specialize kind of around your play style your traits more than you would just optimizing for one specific thing. It's an idea. I don't know. Maybe it would ruin it. You guys can think about that, or tell me I'm dumb. But those would be like the major pain points that I would address. I would actually try to get more of these game modes like raids and convergences added as guild activities, especially now that they said that they're gonna invest in them long term. They've been saying that they're always going to give us new ones with every expansion, so it would make sense for it to be a guild activity. And I would like for them to give you good reasons to do things with your guild. Another thing that I would do is I would merge the LFG system. Like, I would have some type of way when you are listing a group to say, like, this is an open world meta event. And I'm hoping people join. And like, there's a quick PvE join option where you will randomly be put into one of these groups, and you're going to be plopped down in the middle of some random meta. And this would, I think, help them like load balance against player demand, especially as they scale out more maps. That would be something that I would do. The other thing that I would do with that system, if there was a quick PvE join, is I would actually give a buff, kind of like the buff that they give you for switching maps when there's when they have a new instance or whatever. And the reason why I would do that is that it would give people an incentive to be like, okay, I don't know exactly what I want to do right now, but I can help other people. And so, and that would, I think it would help smooth over a lot of the issue of, hey, I'm doing this really old map, this really old event chain that no one remembers, but I need it for this achievement. Hopefully I'll get help. And I think it would actually help consolidate the player base more, and it would be dynamic by helping people get players to fill in. And people like me, who have done a lot of the different legendaries, have a lot of the different achievements, we would have an additional incentive to come and help you, and we would know where to find you. Like, right now, in the LFG panel, there are so many options. Like, how am I going to know where the new player is that can't do anything, right? How can I be an angel and save people's, struggling metas if I have to go through this many different UI elements? Oh, look, is there someone in season 2? Is there someone in season 1? I'm gonna go somewhere like Doric, So yeah, these are all things that I would do to improve the game. And another thing I would do too is maybe find a way to make legendaries that are a little less obnoxious in terms of splitting your gameplay. I guess technically, if you're just farming gold, you can get all of Gen 1 and Gen 3. But I've been chasing full legendary, and I feel like I've literally been hopping communities as a more casual gamer, going, okay, I'm gonna do world versus world now, and then I'm gonna do raids now, and no, I'm gonna do PvP now. Like, I keep jumping depending on which legendary I'm working on, and that, I think, has weakened some of the gameplay systems. And I think that they would have better engagement from players overall, especially legendary hunters, if there was a little bit more freedom in legendary acquisition that didn't require map completions as often and allowed you to specialize more in specific game modes. A completely wild one that I have is I would like there to be a legendary set of gear or something related to every single festival. I think it would be cool. Like, there are cool things from the different festivals, but like legendaries, you get like footfalls, you get projectile effects. Like, sometimes it even visually feels like a different subclass. I feel like it'd be cool if there was like an Arene weapon style set for every festival. And I don't know when I would get to it, but I would definitely try to finish off the Halloween and the Winter's Day ones. I actually really like some of the Winter's Day weapons. So those are all things that I would do. But yeah, I was really shocked to see the almost 50% jump in player base after the Guild Wars 3 announcement. I know that some of those are people who are like, hey, I just want whatever the new Hull Monuments is, and I don't want to get lost. But I feel like it's really encouraging though that many people came back. So I'm really feeling good about things, at least right now. They have a lot of potential. Oh, some other things. They are definitely being really smart. It's really smart that they are getting people to help them. Sorry. When they have 3 different MMOs like this, if any one of them is struggling, it gives people something else to look at and to work on. Right? If Guild Wars 2 is struggling right now, and they have Guild Wars 3 out, and it's fun to play, they are actually keeping me in their ecosystem until they can fix Guild Wars 2. And so that is another aspect of this whole MMO strategy that they're making that is actually pretty brilliant. By making these games with adjacent genres, they're actually giving themselves a little bit of space to just kind of screw up and recover. And so I think that's kind of cool. I've been talking plenty. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 3 situation. I feel like Arenanet gave me what I was expecting, and I'm really excited about it.